All right, guys, we just got the Sam's Club. Unfortunately, we won't be able to bring you guys in there because of their filming policy, but we're gonna go get this grocery haul done and see you guys at our first meal.
All right, good morning, everyone. It's Sunday morning here. We're gonna get breakfast started. So I'm gonna start with 1 whole egg and 4 egg whites on this. These are Hickman's cage-free eggs. So I'll do that whole egg. I usually been doing this for quite a while, so I have it down, although sometimes it can be problematic and I have to fish for it. So second one here. Nothing worse in the morning when you're rushing. You gotta be somewhere. It just ends up being a fiasco, messy. This is always the biggest test when the crack ends up like this and you gotta balance it on that little thing. Oh yeah, boom. Bam,
Precision.
That's nice. And take it over here, I'm gonna heat up my pan. Bam. I don't know, still don't know how to feel about this electric stove. Comment below what stove you have, because growing up, I always had the traditional one where you could visibly see the flame with your eye, with your eyes. But this one, I don't know, it's kind of growing on me, but I kind of miss the old stove. All right, pan's hot, so I'm gonna hit it with a little non-stick. This is avocado oil spray from Trader Joe's. This is a nice good whisk here. Beautiful, so I'm gonna let this cook. All right guys, about midway through before I flip it, I'm gonna go ahead and add just a dash of Himalayan salt. This gives it some really good flavor. I always love when I get a good flip and it ends up like this, because I could just go boom, bam. Straighten her out on the plate here. And I'm gonna get a nice dash, about a 1/4 cup serving here of just traditional shredded cheese. I'm gonna line it up along, boom. And then I'm just gonna seal the deal on it. Bam. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold the phone. Last but not least. The best condiment in the history of condiments. A staple for cutting. You can put it on just about anything. Ground beef bowls, ground turkey bowls, and omelets. Bam. Alrighty guys, we're gonna be moving to my #1 carb source. Every single breakfast, just about. I've stared at this man every single morning for the last 8-9 years or so. I like to think that I'm a huge endorser of the Quaker man when it comes to oats. So we're gonna go a 1/2 cup here. Give it a little shim. Glass bowls, in my opinion, in the morning, if you're rushing, they get so incredibly hot in the microwave. Plastic bowls are nice because they're very lightweight, so you can just grab them by the tips here and remove it. You'll see in a minute. So we'll go a little dash of water here. All right, so I'm gonna put it right in the center there. I've kind of bounced around with times in terms of cooking this meal. I used to go 145. I bumped it up to 150. I think the flavor ends up being a little bit better. So we'll go 150 here. So look at that texture. Very nice. So all we're gonna do now, sometimes I'll put some Walden Farm syrup, carrots, stevia, but most of the time it usually just ends up being a tablespoon of peanut butter here. Yeah, every morning. And then a light drizzle of honey. Freaking bullseye, what a breakfast. Absolutely. So the macro breakdown is gonna be right Mia, and you'll be able to see the full breakdown, protein, carb, fat, total calories to get the day started.
What's up guys, it's about 1 o'clock now, so it's been about 4 hours since our first meal of the day. So it's nice and digested, so I'm gonna show you guys how we go through prepping our second meal of the day, which is going to consist of 6 ounces of ground beef. Now, if you notice the scale here, it is at 12. That's because I'm prepping this meal for me and Jace. So 12 ounces weighed out, and then for the seasonings, I like to go garlic, a little bit of cumin, chili powder, paprika, pepper, and Himalayan salt. And I'll explain this in a second. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the pan just with a little bit of avocado oil. I'm gonna go ahead and toss my beef in. I'm gonna grab my spatula. I'm gonna start breaking the beef up. I mean, there's really nothing special here. You're just breaking it up, just evening it through. Pan's about at a 6 level right now. So just gonna break this beef up. Gonna mince it up a little more. About good right here. To add the flavor, I'm gonna go in with some garlic powder, not garlic salt, just garlic powder. Get a nice base going. I love my garlic, and so does Jace. I think that has to do with the barbecue background.
100%.
So that looks good about right there. And then I'm gonna go in with some chili powder. Let's get a nice base layer of that. I go a little extra just because I love my heat. There we go. And then I'm gonna add some paprika. A couple dashes of that. Perfect. And now you have to be careful with this stuff because it does have a very strong earthy taste to it. I don't really go in there with a blind eye. I kind of just tap a little bit out. Ooh, that's a little too much. See, that would make the beef taste nasty. So about right there. Just toss that bad boy in there. Now I'm gonna come in with our salt. Now this is pink Himalayan sea salt. So the sodium content is lower than regular table salt, which is why I prefer it. And then I'm gonna go in with a couple cracks of black pepper. I'm gonna take my spatula, take the beef and all the seasoning I just added and mix that up. I'm actually gonna crank up the heat just a bit. I'm gonna go 8 right here. It's always tricky with these electric stoves only because the way in which the pans heat up, you can never really tell. It's pretty unpredictable. I'm gonna get that all mixed up. Now, as the beef is cooking up, I'm going to get our rice ready. Now, this is a hack that me and Jace picked up from being college students, always on the go, transitioning between your classes, work, and training. Just don't really have that much time to spend on cooking your meals, so this is an easy convenience that if you're somebody who's constantly on the go, this is something that you should definitely just try implementing. It's just microwavable rice, and we stay loyal to our Uncle Ben. So you're just gonna take a little slit in the top right here, separate the rice up so it's not all clumpy when you cook it. Just toss it in the microwave, 90 seconds, start, and there you go. You'll have a packet of rice which produces 2 cups. I'm gonna have half the pack, Jason's gonna have the other half, and that's gonna be mixed up with our beef. All right, so our rice is done. Now, be careful when you take this out of the microwave because it is extremely hot. I can't tell you the amount of times I've burned my fingertips touching this rice packet. So I usually just grab it from the tip, take it out, open it all the way up, let the steam out. That way when you start to separate it, it doesn't burn you. So the beef is about done. I'm gonna give it a little more longer. Let's see my little chef skills right here. Give it a couple little flips. Those are those Gordon Ramsay techniques right there. So this beef's about done. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the heat off, slide that pan off, take our rice over here. Now, half the pack for me. Ooh, that's hot. The other pack for Jace. He has a little more now. I know it's like, I could be measuring this out, but honestly, me and Jace have been doing this for so long that we kind of just guesstimate on that. And now, if you want to be extremely precise, you would take your food scale and just measure it out. Measure the gram servings out that's listed on the back. But that looks good to me. So I'm going to go grab our beef. Now, how I measure the beef out. Now, it was pre-measured before, so I'm just going to go half and half, just split it in half. Half for me, half for Jace. And maybe it's off by
a hair,
an ounce at the most. And now I know a lot of you may be thinking, wow, that meal looks really bland. But I'm gonna show you a little trick that we picked up from Nick Bear. And that is sugar-free Heinz tomato ketchup. But because we like to put our own spin and twist on things, we're gonna kick it up a notch with some Green Dragon hot sauce. Now, if you guys have a Trader Joe's next to you, I'm not plugging Trader Joe's or anything, but if you have a Trader Joe's, go pick up this hot sauce because it's absolutely game changer, especially when cutting The meals, especially the way we do our cut, our meals are the same every day. They're very bland because that's just what works for us. So we usually try to add variation with condiments or seasonings.
What are the calories on that, by the way?
Don't ask me how, but 0 calories per serving, so that's pretty damn great. So I'm gonna just come in with some ketchup. Nice little drizzle on that, on both of them. Then I'm gonna add the Green Dragon. Now this does have a pretty nice kick to it, so add it at your own extent. Perfect. And now, that's meal number 2, guys. Macros will be posted on the screen. Me and Jace are gonna go ahead and get this meal slammed. We'll see you guys in the next one.
All right, guys, so this is going to be our last meal of the day. It being a rest day, typically we'd have this exact same meal after we train, but it's an awesome meal to have on a rest day as well. So I have 12 ounces of 93.7 lean ground beef measured out here. This is from Rayleigh's, actually. They have some really good lean ground beef, nice and flavorful, very moist. I know you heard Rob talk about it earlier in the video, about how much we like Uncle Ben's. We could throw it in the microwave. The reason I didn't like to do Uncle Ben's solo is because the macros per pouch are 420 with 87 grams of carbs. So normally if I made a standard meal with like 8 ounces of ground turkey, lean ground beef, chicken breast, etc., I would have to toss half the bag away, but it's so convenient because me and Rob can split the bag. Splitting the bag, it's gonna put us at 250 calories and 52 grams of carbs, which is very solid. Gives us a really awesome carb source with the beef here. I know you saw in the last one, it was a very bland meal, and that is because normally we would go and train, so we don't want it to be too heavy. So now we're cutting up 1 whole avocado that we're gonna be splitting here. So we're each gonna have half an avocado. We're gonna mix some lime in there. You'll see how we make it in a minute. And then we're gonna go 1 whole bell pepper that we're gonna toss in the beef during the cooking process. Yellow is my personal favorite, but any bell pepper, you can even toss some mushrooms in there. That's really good with ground beef as well. You can mix it up with the veggies to kind of speed up the digestion and make it more efficient. So let's get cooking.
So the total macros for today are 152 grams of carbs, 65 grams of fat, and 200 grams of protein. The only meal that we ate that you guys did not see was a whey protein shake. Obviously, it's pretty boring. Not gonna throw that on cam. It's just some whey protein and water shaken up.
Absolutely. Sometimes we get a little creative with the blender, but that hasn't really been the case due to our schedules as of currently. So
I know a lot of you are probably wondering why our diets are so bland, but I'm gonna let Jace elaborate on that and let him explain why we do such a monotonous diet during a cutting phase.
I definitely think that you may be viewing our diet as somewhat of a boring diet, but I mean, we hit our macros 100%. I'm weighing about 202 right now. Rob's in the early 220s.
225.
We're right on par with where we need to be. We still have 10 more weeks of this. And then of course, once we hit our goal weight, we transition to a maintenance phase. There's gonna be a ton more freelance in terms of what we can eat throughout the Monday through Friday schedule, as well as implementing a weekly refeed. Because as of right now, we've been doing bi-weekly refeeds. And even our refeeds have just been a ribeye steak and maybe a baked potato, or some 90-10 beef patties on a burger maybe, just because we are not eating any bread throughout the Monday through Friday schedule. But yeah, with over 200 grams of protein, just eating ground beef and rice, I think as of now, upon cutting down, there's really that crunch time to get shredded. And absolutely. I feel that that's something that we skipped this previous summer, and it's a little more hard to keep it dialed in. That's why we cater to a diet like this leading into a maintenance phase, only because it gets us to the weight we need to efficiently. Once we start implementing cardio along with this diet, the weight really starts shedding off and we get to a consistent 2 to 3 pound a week loss, with our training being right where it needs to be to get us into a maintenance phase that we're comfortable with.
Absolutely, and I would say us kind of catering towards a bland, simple diet, it kind of puts us in that mindset. It's like, okay, you're in a cutting phase right now, it's time to dial in. When you're in a cutting phase and energy levels start to get low, the amount of energy that you're willing to expend on other things besides training just aren't really there. So just eating the same foods, you know the foods digest well, They supply your body with the energy you need to train and to recover. So that's one of the main reasons why we choose these types of diets during specific cutting phases. We don't eat like this year round. When we go into maintenance phase, we kind of take that if it fits your macros approach, which is something we really love to do.
There's tons of ways to cut, right? Obviously, the whole anabolic approach nowadays has become a phenomenon, and I think it's a brilliant phenomenon that's emerged. You got guys like Remington James, Greg Doucette, guys that are coming up with these amazing anabolic recipes that are proving to get people lean and getting real results. And they're delicious. I think me and Rob only do this because, like Rob was saying, it puts us on an extremely regimented schedule, and it's easy, right? I get breakfast made and consumed in 10 minutes every single day. The beef bowls are very effortless as well.
Absolutely.
And let me remind you guys, the way me and Rob approach our bulks is essentially from a dirty bulking standpoint. I don't think we've done a lean bulk in some time. I always took the dirty bulk approach because me and Rob, if you've been watching the channel, our childhoods did not consist of anything healthy. We ate a lot of crappy food growing up. That's just the way it is. So we fell in love, sweets, barbecue, pizza. We don't do anabolic stuff because it makes me miss the good stuff even more.
Yeah. Because
it's really toned down flavor-wise, texture-wise. It's just not the same thing. With the beef bowls, with the egg whites, oats, peanut butter, just sticking to very monotonous foods, it really helps me.
To summarize everything all up, it just comes down to efficiency. This is what's most efficient for us. We're not saying it's going to be most efficient for you. This is just how we like to approach our cutting phase / dieting phases. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, let us know down in the comments below what you guys want to see next. Until then, we'll see you guys in the next video.
See you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in.